This is episode number 12 of the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast, and I'm very happy to have with me Julia House, who is the CEO of
Southern
sorry.
Arundel Chamber of Commerce.
So without further ado, let's dive into it. First question that I have is, can you share your journey from Southern Senior High School to becoming president and CEO of the Southern Anne Arundel County Chamber of Commerce?
I graduated Southern High School in 2005, and I had already started with CAC South and the technical school there, and was a completer for the medical assisting program. So I knew right away that I wanted to continue that path, and ended up enrolling at Anne Arundel Community College. I completed my certificate and completed my studies there in 2009. I was in pediatric nursing and at various different pediatric offices, basic care, and then also urgent cares affiliated with it as well. Until about 2011, 2012. And I had a really good career with that. It was really rewarding to see the young kids coming in, and you saw them on their well visit, you saw them on their sick visits. So I've always really wanted to serve and do things in that way. And then in 2010, just before I left the pediatric world, I had a daughter and decided to spend some time with her. So I stayed home for a little while with her. And when she was getting a little older and everything, I started to look for some type of office job. I knew I wasn't ready to go back to medical field, and just kind of looked through different postings and found the Chamber of Commerce. So I applied just for a very part-time, 10-hour a week administrative role, and ended up becoming the executive director of the chamber. At that time, I really didn't know what a Chamber of Commerce was, and I really just thought that I was going to be doing some office work and that kind of thing. So fast forward, it is now 2025, and I'm the president and CEO here at the chamber, and working with all of our local businesses, our local organizations, government resources. We work with state and county resources to be able to really introduce the businesses to what's going on and then get them connected to who they need. We do live in a small town. Southern Anne Arundel is a very unique community. We have a lot of agriculture, a lot of maritime, and then we have a lot of small business, traditionally generational, and have started from scratch. So a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that took a chance and started a business and have been successful for years and are now passing the torch to somebody else in their family or looking for different options. So it's really a great place to be. And I've learned a lot throughout the years from the business community. So it's just been kind of different path to get here, but the business community is unique and exciting, and there's always something to learn from them.
Now, was there anything that kind of made you say, I don't want to go back to being a nurse or anything in particular, or is it kind of just, let's take something that's a little different and go down a different path?
I think it was a combination. I think the hours and the demand for nursing these days is, a lot on people, and without the different time frames and throughout different, even just through the pandemic, we really saw a change and a shift in medical field and nursing and patient care. So I think it's just kind of I changed and transitioned, but then also just not wanting to go back to that style of work and demand.
To your current job, is there a project or initiative that the chambers love that either you or a team of people are kind of most proud of recently?
Yeah. So over the last few years, we've really looked at focus groups and trying to meet people where they are, trying to get people involved based on their interest, and just really getting to know the people from a different level. Previously, it was always about the business and how can we move the business forward? How can we showcase them from a business standpoint? And over the last couple of years, we've looked at the person behind the business and the people behind the business. There's a very unique method to employees. And a lot of times the person that is on the head of the business isn't always the one doing the day-to-day operations. So we've looked at that. Our women's group has really taken off this year, and giving them an outlet and a focus and having a place to call their own has been really tremendous and rewarding. We've really been able to tap into that market and showcase women in business because there is quite a bit of women entrepreneurs in our area. And then most recently, we have partnered with Anne Arundel Community College Entrepreneurial Studies to start a YPN group, so young professionals, which is also really booming and really exciting. A lot of people learned during the pandemic that they didn't like the work-life balance or the structure of working for a company. So we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs branch out on their own and really make a business based on their standards and what they want. And so just embracing, more one-on-one with people and getting to know them on a different level.
And so has it been a little different, I would assume, for the people who do the day-to-day versus kind of the higher management for either agriculture or any of these different companies?
The business owner has a lot of focus on the bottom line, making deadlines, making sure that bills are paid, that the payroll is paid, that kind of thing. So a business owner has a wealth of knowledge and is really great for mentorship and helping with business plans and figuring out how to make that next jump, how to progress into the next level of business. So we really utilize those CEOs and business owners and all of that to really help us figure that side out. And then those in the day-to-day operations, whether that's marketing or sales or out on the, out in the ground doing the work, especially with our trades and all of that. They're the ones that are out doing things on a daily basis. And they're also looking to network with people. They're trying to figure out how they can professionally grow themselves, how they can build relationships, both professionally and personally, and really just kind of find different ways to make business more sustainable. So it's just a different perspective. They're both doing the job at the end of the day. They both want to make the business successful. They both want to move the business forward. They want to make that sale. They want to make that transaction. But there's just different viewpoints from the CEO versus the day-to-day employee.
Now, does it change a little bit from industry to industry? So if you're in the agriculture business versus a maritime business or another business?
Yeah, agriculture is more of the business owner is the one out doing the day-to-day. They may have some laborers, they may have different things, but they are really, especially in our area, the farms and the agriculture business here is the farmers out, getting up at dawn and going out and doing the work, whether that's feeding the animals or watering the crops or making the machines work, that kind of thing. So a lot of times those are the same people because they're just not huge farms or agriculture businesses in this area. And then from maritime aspect, it is kind of the same thing where, we have a lot of small marinas and little marinas that are expanding and doing different things. It's not just park your boat here or put it up on blocks. It's more so, how can we make the repairs done? How can we maintain the boat? How can we store it in the wintertime? So that's really opened up different avenues and having those sub products and offerings to make the maritime customer happy and know that they're fully taken care of, a kind of full circle glove service type of thing. That's really changed quite a bit in the past, few years, and all of that. Just kind of offering everything at one place is really big in the maritime industry right now.
So kind of what I'm hearing is that it's not kind of one fits all for the industry. It's tailored a little bit to whoever the specific customer is or the
Exactly.
boss a little bit.
Yeah. Every business is unique and every business has their own set of challenges. They may fall under the same umbrella. Workforce is a huge issue with a lot of businesses, but it looks different for everybody. And some people are looking for entry level, some are looking for a specific skill. just like with our restaurants, finding a chef is a huge issue. That's a specific skill set, a specific type of person that you're looking for. You can't just hire anybody. So that's kind of where it comes down to. But every industry, yes, is different.
Now, another question that I have is how has earning your MIO credentials shaped your leadership and approach to supporting local businesses?
So I just completed my IOM for organizational management. It just 2 weeks ago at Villanova University with the U.S. Chamber. And it's been a 4-year progress. So over the past 4 years, I have taken different classes and courses to be able to figure out different things. And some of it was just basic, like what is a Chamber of Commerce? What do we do? How much can we offer? What are we legally allowed to do? How do we so a Chamber of Commerce works with the staff of the chamber, but then also we have a board. So the board are elected people from the community. They're not paid or anything like that, but they do it to serve the community and to serve the chamber. So really just learning all those basics and what it does, and then building on that as we went along. So how can we market differently? How can we find other ways of revenue besides membership dues, nonprofits versus not-for-profits? AI has become a huge lesson, and there was a lot of classes and focus on that this year. It's kind of an evolving trend, but it's here, and finding ways to use it and to make day-to-day work operations easier, but then also how to use it to advance your industry and your trade kind of thing. So really just taking it all in at the moment. So I haven't seen a direct impact yet on completing it, but I know that over the last 4 years, I've learned a lot of lessons and I've been able to implement that and then help the chamber grow with it.
Now, going off of that, how much of your job has been learning along the way, meaning comparing where you are now to whether it was your first day or your first year at the job, how is it kind of different? Is it a lot of learning about the organization as a whole and kind of learning what is what and then what works and what doesn't work? Or is it a lot of kind of learning as you go and trying to figure it out?
Yeah. I've been with the position for 11 years now. So I've been here at the chamber for 11 years, and really a lot of it is learning from everybody else. It's a lot of learning as you go. It's sometimes learning by mistakes. All of the colleagues, so there's lots of chambers across the state of Maryland. Even in our county, we have 6 chambers of commerce in Anne Arundel County. And those are my colleagues. Those are who I reach out to. Those are, kind of my peer review type of things. If I have an idea that I'm not really sure about, I'll pick up the phone and call my Maryland Association buddies or my local Anne Arundel County buddies. And I'm really able to kind of bounce ideas off of them, or we're able to collaborate and get something out. But it has been a lot of learning on the go. I really didn't know a lot about business when I first started, and just really getting to know the people in the business. You learn a lot from them. They have taken the chances. They've taken the risk. They've looked at their bottom line. They've looked at their bank statements. They've looked at an employee they've had to fire. They've had to hire. So really, they're the ones that are really teaching me on a day-to-day basis. We're constantly receiving feedback, and it's really good to see us receiving that feedback so that we can make changes. And then just kind of how the world has evolved. We've done different things. When I first started compared to now, the way that we market a business is totally different. We might have put up a piece of paper in a bulletin board back then, and that may still be effective, but it's not quite as effective as maybe a video or a social media post. So just learning that type of thing and how the industry has changed.
So some of it is a little bit ahead of the step a little bit.
Our trades obviously have really done well. Our basics, HVAC, plumbing, electricity, all of those basic trades, which will always be important to us. And for, the time we have in the future, we're not foreseeing those being replaced at any point in time. AI is doing great things, and robots are doing amazing things, but they still can't come into your home and put an HVAC system or diagnose a bathroom issue or something like that. So we're still going to see those trades. Education and workforce have kind of ebbed and flowed on whether or not trades have been the focus. Every student has to go to college. Every student has to get some type of degree. versus maybe they don't need a degree, but maybe they need hands-on training. And I think looking at both avenues for every single individual is really important, just from seeing different people take different career paths and really learning that as they go. Restaurants, I think, have always been a hard hitter. The failure rate for a restaurant or a food service industry is extremely high, unfortunately. And that continues to be a problem. That is certainly something that we're seeing in this area is the lack of chefs. And then as far as agriculture, we're seeing such diverse methods of farming and agriculture as a whole that I think that people are being really innovative with it and taking the limited amount of resources, whether that's land or product, and they're really expanding on it. So there's a lot of new growth basically with that industry because people are really thinking outside the box and taking innovative steps to grow things, whether it's food or plants or animals or any of it in smaller areas that aren't traditional. Yeah, I think professional development and education is open. I think that you can learn from experiences, you can learn from a textbook, you can learn from a professor. There's a lot of different ways to learn and, taking advantages of that. And even if you have, a master's degree in something and you're really doing well in it in your industry, there's always opportunity to learn. There's always a book that you could read. There's always some other type of opportunity. So I think just opening our minds up to education and being not this little tunnel that we have to go through a certain way. I think that really opens everybody up to a different type of education and just always being eager to learn, whatever method that looks for you. Somebody may not learn as well from sitting in a lecture hall, but they may do well at home reading from a book and doing a virtual class or being out on a job site and learning directly from somebody that's in the industry. So I think just looking at varied ways and really being adaptive for that.
Now, would you kind of consider your job to be more of a field job, or would you kind of say that it's a little bit of both?
I think it's both. It's funny because I am with a small chamber, and a lot of times people want to see me here at the office. But really, the best part of my job is being out with people and listening to them or visiting their office or visiting their location and learning from them. Learning more about their business helps me to do my job. I'm able to learn successes that they've had, challenges that they've had, and really either celebrate that or help them find a solution. Even if it's just passing their name on to somebody else who can build that relationship or give them that resource, it's really just doing it better, being in person and being out and about with them. And then building those connections so that I may not know right now how I can build something or introduce you to somebody else, but 6 months down the road, you're going to pop back up because an issue came up or something. So yeah, it is a fine line of here doing the day to day, getting the administrative stuff done, but really being out in the field is key.
So would you kind of say that it is a little bit of connecting people with the right resources that they need for whatever problems that they have?
Yes, it's a huge role here at the chamber and just connecting people for relationships, connecting people for some type of value resource, whether that's a loan or, a step in the right direction, a new location, an employee. There's always a connection to be made.
Now, my next question is, what's kind of been your biggest challenges that you had? Kind of, what did you learn from it?
I would say the biggest challenge for me would be the learning curve, trying to figure out what exactly I'm supposed to do and how I can best help the businesses. And that's still evolving. I think that will always kind of keep going. And it's just some days meeting the needs of the business is easier than others. And sometimes it's really frustrating when a great business has been successful or done great things, and then they've fallen on some type of hardship. So it's really just a new experience quite often, and just really meeting the people has been amazing. But it's definitely been a challenge trying to figure out all the different industries and how can we serve all of them collaboratively.
Now, are all the industries kind of the same, where they have all the same problems, or is each one kind of different? So if you're in the restaurant business and it's restaurants that close very quickly versus farmers who have trouble with getting the necessary crops, or boat owners who have certain problems with getting fuel and parts. Is it kind of the same problems across the board, or is it kind of each one is different and so it's unique to address each one in a different and separate way?
I think for the most part, it is overhanging issues, workforce, finances, sometimes even location isn't always the best thing, but it really comes down to the individual once you get past the category. But overall, those issues, economic development, workforce, those are huge issues that almost every business is facing. It's just a matter of the day to day and the individual businesses on what that problem looks like for them. You know, we have a marine industry business. They service marine boats and yachts and that kind of thing. They're looking for skilled labor. So they need someone who has some experience with mechanics and is willing to get dirty, willing to work outside. That's a specific need. And then we have other more generalized, like a call center, who just needs a body. Essentially, they can pretty much train them. You can give them the scripts, you can give them the resources that they need, and they can probably catch on and learn pretty quick. Whereas the farmer, again, is a little bit of both. They're going to need that basic labor, but then they're also going to need some skill sets to be able to do it. So upskilling some of our current employees to fill the needs that we have, and then also bringing in people off the street that are willing to learn.
Now, I know that you talked a little bit earlier about startups and kind of new people who are starting these versus families. How is that different a little bit? How have you also kind of experienced that kind of with your job?
Yeah. So entrepreneurs who are just starting out, whether they're young or seasoned or, you know, have been in the field, have not been in the field, a lot of times they need somebody to help them kind of get started. They have this great idea. They may even have the funds, or they have the ambition to do it, but they need the groundwork. They need to know how to get their business plan in play. They need to know how they can maybe get a loan or finance their business, whatever that might be, whether that's tools, that's vehicles, they need to hire their first employee, whatever that might be. There's a lot of learning in that, and just getting them the resources that they need, but then also giving them the support to have the mindset that they can do it. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of direct resources, but then also inspiration, collaboration, getting them pumped up and excited. And they already know what they want to do. They've already made up their mind, but sometimes they just need a little nudge that somebody's back there supporting them, and that there's another business that's there to help them, or another person, mentor, that kind of thing. When you have the experienced business owners who have been in business for quite a long time, maybe this is their second business, maybe it's their second career, that kind of thing, they're still facing a lot of the same challenges as far as all, you know, workforce, economics, that kind of thing. It's just different, and they're more seasoned, so they know how to handle it a little better. They're not reaching out to me for as many things. They're not going to our local agencies like workforce development, economic development, because they've already tried things. They have the experience. They know what the day-to-day looks like. So it's just bridging that gap between them to know that there are new ways and new experiences to meet those challenges, and then kind of just coming into the future with how they're doing things. They may be perfectly content with the way that they're operating and the pencil and paper type of thing, but kind of teaching them that there is a better option, or something that can help them save time or money is really what it comes down to.
Now, if we were to kind of look ahead, are you gonna stay within your current role, or are you kind of gonna either do something within your current employer, or do you think you're kind of gonna expand or try something else or something different?
I think I still have time here at the chamber. You know, I think that there's still work to be done, and we're really at a point now where we're building and growing, and we're seen as a valued resource in the community. So I don't anticipate leaving anytime soon. It really is a great place to work, and to have all of these people who I've grown to learn and meet, build relationships with, all of that have really made being a chamber exec a really special position. So as for now, I'm right where I'm at.
I don't know if you're familiar with Diary of a CEO.
I actually recently read it. Yes.
So as you know, he kind of does it where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, and they don't know who the next guest is. So the last question that was left for you is, how has your biggest failure actually led to your biggest blessing?
Okay. I mean, when I left the medical field, I really did feel like it was a failure. I felt like I hadn't, that I had let the industry down, so to speak, and that I wasn't quite ready to admit that. But now, fast forward to 11 years later, I really see that this is where essentially I feel like I was supposed to end up. And the stories and the impacts that I've heard from our local businesses, our local employees, our local community members, our organizations have really kind of helped me fulfill that. Just know that although it looked like a mistake, it looked like a failure, I'm right where I should be. And I think that the community really supports that. I think, what would they tell their younger self? What would, if they were looking back, we've all been taught from a young age with the career days and all of that. What does it look like for you when you were 5 years old versus 10 years old, 15, 16, when you're starting to look at what's after high school? What would you say to your younger self to, kind of embrace what they were feeling then versus what you're feeling now?
And I'll end this with one final question. Who are three people you know in the community who would make great future guests for this podcast?
So I definitely 100% would nominate Dave Rossage, who is the owner of Skipper's Pier Restaurant and Dock Bar. He has an amazing entrepreneurial background and story, and he's just a wealth of knowledge and excitement over being an entrepreneur. Stephanie Fennell, who is the owner of 100 Lots Kitchen and Bar. She recently had a very successful career as a chef, and recently in the last 18 months opened her own restaurant. So she took a big risk and is doing well with that. And that's in Edgewater. And then I would say Ray Greenstreet, who is the owner of Green Street Gardens in Lothian. He has been such a huge supporter of young entrepreneurs, and he is celebrating 25 years this year with his nursery, which is remarkable person, remarkable family man, and local community member who has really given back to the community and to local businesses. He is always willing to answer a question, and whether it's a full mentorship or just swinging some ideas around, he's really been great for our business community.
So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for making the time. I know that it's kind of been this delayed timing, if you will, but sometimes I think that's the best, is you have conflicts and you have things that come up and you try to work around them. But I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to make this possible. And so, yes. And so that was episode number 12, and thank you very much.